What does your life actually look like in retirement? Not your portfolio, not your withdrawal rate, your life. The Tuesday mornings, the things that get you out of bed once nobody needs you in the boardroom or behind a counter. Here's something that most retirement planning never tells you. The people who live the longest, healthiest, and most satisfied life all tend to have the same 5 ingredients running through their days. There's a name for these 5 ingredients, and it's called the PERMA model. And if you're a business owner or professional looking at the next chapter, this video is about making sure that your vision of the next chapter actually has all 5. My name is Quentin Chambers. I'm a financial planner and portfolio manager. I work with business owners, incorporated professionals, and affluent Canadians. And over the last decade, one thing to me is clear. Canadians just like you are leaving serious money on the table. And on this channel, I show you where to look. Let me ask you a question that's better than the one that you've probably been asked. Most of the time, the question is, will your money last? And now that matters. But that's only half the picture, because here's a half that nobody talks about. You spent the last 30 or 40 years building a career. And if you're like most successful professionals or business owners, almost all of that fulfillment in your life, the energy, the identity, the feeling of being genuinely good at something comes from your work. So when that work goes away, what fills the space? You may already know the financial tools that stretch and protect your assets, like having a clear financial plan, using bucketing strategies, or even dynamic withdrawal approaches. There's no question that those need to be right, but the bigger challenge is not making your money last. It's making sure that you last. Research into longevity is pretty clear. The people who thrive in retirement have a blend of these 5 PERMA factors woven into their daily lives. So these belong inside your plan right next to the numbers. I'm gonna walk you through all 5, and as I go, ask yourself 2 things about each one. Where does it show up in my life today, and where's it gonna come from once I step back from work? The P in the PERMA model of happiness stands for positive emotion. And the first thing to know is it's not just about happiness. Positive emotions can range from hope, interest, joy, love, compassion, pride, amusement, and especially gratitude. So right now, think about where you're getting these feelings from. If your career or your business has been the center of your world, chances are a huge share of them come straight from your work. The pride of closing a deal, the interest of solving a hard problem, the joy of building something that people rely on. Which means the real question is, where do those feelings come from next? Maybe it's volunteering for a cause you care about, maybe it's a time with your family, or maybe it's just enjoying a victory lap. A great example of this is something called a victory lap, where you gradually move into semi-retirement, where you keep the parts of your work that light you up and let go of the parts that drain you. Then we move on to the E, which is engagement. And this one often catches people off guard. One of the reasons why you've thrived for so long is simple. You're generally good at what you do, and there's a specific kind of satisfaction deep in expertise. That feeling of being in flow, operating at the top of your craft, that is engagement. And you have been living it for decades. So here's the question that matters. When you retire, where do you find that same feeling of owning a skill that completely absorbs you? A common answer that I hear when I ask people about where you're gonna get that same sense of engagement from in retirement often is, I'm gonna pick up a new hobby. And that can be great, but that does come with a catch. A brand new hobby comes with a steep learning curve. It can take tens of years to get good enough to feel that same deep engagement you got from a career you spent your whole life mastering. This is why you don't want to wait until the day you retire to start. Just like the financial side, this also needs a runway. Start exploring your hobbies now while you still have the work, so you have something real that you can lean into later. It can be a sport, it can be gardening, it can be art, music, or writing. Pick something and start building the skill early, so that's ready when you are. Then we get into the R, which is positive relationships. And you already know this one matters. But watch how it sneaks up on you. When you're consumed by the day-to-day, it's easy to let relationships quietly fade without meaning to. The friendships that you don't have time for, the connections that slip because the calendar is always full. The good news is that you can rekindle these connections. The harder truth is that it takes time to rebuild a relationship back to the point where it truly nourishes you. You can't just flip the switch and instantly have a deep and supportive circle around you. So treat this like every other part of long-term planning. Tending to your relationships now, keeping a balance of genuinely fulfilling people in your life, is one of the best investments you can make for the years ahead. And then we have the M, which stands for meaning, and that's having a sense of purpose, the feeling that what you do actually matters. For you now, that sense of meaning is probably tied directly to your career or your business. The company you build, the clients you serve, the team that depends on you. When that goes away, that purpose can go with it, unless you are intentional about it. So as you move towards retirement, your job is to find new sources of meaning. And the best place to look is at your own values and your passions. What do you genuinely care about? It could be volunteering, mentoring the next generation in your field, getting involved with something happening in your community, or starting a new passion project that has nothing to do with money. When you line up your retirement with the things that you truly value, you keep your sense of purpose alive. And a life with purpose is a life that keeps pulling you forward. Then we have the last letter, the A, which is accomplishment. Think about how much of who you are comes from achieving things. Setting a goal, chasing it down, beating the obstacles, and then you finally get there. If you're a driven person, that feeling of accomplishment is like oxygen. So when you're in retirement, you need to find new goals. You need to find those new mountains to climb. And they can take whatever shape you want. It might be personal, like a fitness goal, a health target, or finally get into the best shape of your life. Or they might be community focused, like contributing to a local cause, or starting a small venture that gives back. The point here is that it's important to keep setting goals that mean something to you, and you keep working toward them. That's how you protect that sense of achievement and how you keep growing as a person, long after your career is behind you. So bring it all together for your own life. The PERMA model is a real framework for what makes a life feel full. Positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. As you head into retirement, the smart move is to look honestly at each one and ask, how will this be affected when my work goes away, and what am I going to do about it? Because your goal was never just a retirement that was financially secure. Your goal is a retirement that is emotionally rich and deeply satisfying. I encourage you to build the PERMA model into your plan and into your life so that you get both. And when you're working with a wealth advisor, this is where the right one earns their place. Not just managing your money, but helping you bridge a gap between your finances and a meaningful, well-rounded life. It's someone who helps you line up your financial resources with your happiness goals so the plan is built around your actual life, not just numbers on a page. If this gave you something to think about, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. And if you want to map out what your own version of this looks like, click the link in the description. Let's build something together.